Ning Tian sees the sealed Flame Lion King and calmly takes out his guqin. He activates the technique, the divine zither of absolute immortality, and begins to play. As he strums the guqin, waves of music ripple outward. At that moment, the sealed Flame Lion King lets out a thunderous roar. But Ning Tian's sound waves begin circling the beast, wrapping around it like invisible chains. The Flame Lion King tries to attack Ning Tian, but before it can, Ning Tian, through the power of his guqin and the divine zither of absolute immortality, completely subdues the beast. The Grand Elder, watching in awe, exclaims, "It actually subdued this ferocious beast in a single move." A disciple shouts proudly, "As expected of my ancestor." Ning Tian stops playing the guqin. The beast slowly walks toward him. Seeing Ning Tian approach, the majestic lion lowers its head and sits, pressing its forehead against the ground in submission. Ning Tian asks the beast gently, "Why did Lin Ba want to capture you?" The beast roars passionately in its own tongue, "Roar! Roar!" After listening carefully, Ning Tian responds, "So that guy wanted to gift you to the beast master of the Righteous Alliance. Lucky for you, you ran into me. Would you like to return with me to the Heavenly Demon Sect and become our gate-guarding divine beast? That way, no one else will come after you again." The beast growls warmly in response, "Roar!" The Grand Elder, stunned by the exchange, says, "You can even communicate with beasts. Ancestor, you're incredible." Even the disciples standing nearby are completely amazed. Ning Tian takes out his storage gourd and speaks to the beast, "Come along." As soon as he says it, the storage gourd begins to pull the beast in swiftly. The beast blinks in surprise as it's drawn inside. Then Ning Tian turns to the Grand Elder and says, "Grand Elder, regarding the throne of the Eastern Prosperity Kingdom, just choose someone capable from among the disciples of the Heavenly Demon Sect. I'll return to the sect first." With that, he begins to fly away. The Grand Elder watches him go and replies with hands pressed together, "Understood." Meanwhile, Luo Wuqing sits in her chamber, calmly working at her desk on official matters. Suddenly, behind her, a void portal opens, silently, ominously, and from within, a hand slowly reaches out toward her. But this hand doesn't belong to an enemy. It's our boy Ning Tian. In a flash, Ning Tian embraces Luo Wuqing from behind and cheerfully says, "Honey, I'm home." Luo Wuqing jolts in surprise from the sudden hug, clearly caught off guard. She turns to look at Ning Tian and remarks with a hint of admiration, "Your grasp of void travel is getting more and more refined." Still holding her, Ning Tian replies modestly, "It's all right." The distance is still pretty short, though. Luo Wuqing gently pushes him back with one hand, blushing slightly, and teases, "If it could reach further, I'd bet you'd sneak off to the Jade Lake Holy Land, wouldn't you?" Ning Tian laughs awkwardly, waving his hands and answering, "Honey, what nonsense are you saying? I'd only ever travel to your side." Suddenly, Luo Wuqing senses something. Her expression changes. She abruptly stands up, grabs Ning Tian by the collar, yanks him down, and pushes him onto the chair with force. Ning Tian, flustered and blushing, stares at her in surprise and stammers, "Honey, what's with you today? If you act like this, your husband won't be able to hold back, you know." Luo Wuqing gives him a long, piercing look. Then, her tone sharpens. "Shut it." Without another word, she begins checking something on Ning Tian's body. As she scans through them, Ning Tian's playful mood fades. He grows serious. After a while, Luo Wuqing removes her hand from Ning Tian's body and asks thoughtfully, "The 9 Tribulation Emperor's perception, did you meet someone unusual in the Eastern Prosperity Kingdom?" Hearing that, Ning Tian is visibly surprised. He pauses to think, then replies slowly, "That bard was actually the 9 Tribulation Emperor?" Luo Wuqing suddenly leans in with urgency, "What bard? Tell me exactly what happened." Ning Tian begins explaining everything that occurred there, one event at a time, trying to summarize it all, this and that. So on and so forth. Luo Wuqing listens quietly, nodding her head as he speaks. After taking it all in, she says, "Judging by what you've said, that Qingjiang must be an emperor from beyond the domain." Ning Tian looks at her, clearly surprised, and asks, "From beyond the domain? Don't those emperors have anything better to do than wandering around aimlessly?" Luo Wuqing thinks for a moment, and then replies, he didn't seem to harbor any malice toward you. Ning Tian nods, adding, yeah, just a bit mysterious, that's all. Then, Ning Tian rises from the chair and walks over to Luo Wuqing, wrapping his arms around her. Caught off guard, Luo Wuqing blushes and asks softly, what are you doing? Without warning, Ning Tian gently lays her down on the table and grins, you just gave me a flash of inspiration, honey. We could open up some new battlefields. On the other side, Luo Wuqing's face turns completely red with embarrassment. She glares at him and says shyly, scoundrel. This is my office, you know. Ning Tian slowly runs his hand across her stomach, leaning in to nibble at her ear, then whispers softly, that's perfect then. Guys, by now I'm sure you all know exactly what kind of inspiration Ning Tian is talking about, and which new battlefields he plans to explore. I think you understand without needing it spelled out. A while later, after everything has happened, Ning Tian stands up, adjusting his pants. From the side, Luo Wuqing, flushed and fuming, throws his shirt at him and shouts, get dressed and get out. Ning Tian looks back at her and smirks, honey, putting on your pants and pretending not to know me? That's what we call being a heartless woman. Meanwhile, Luo Wuqing, having just endured all the commotion, is leaning on the table for support. Her body trembles slightly from the aftermath. Still in that shaky state, she scowls at Ning Tian and snaps, humph. Say one more word and I'll throw you out. Suddenly, Ning Tian feels a strange sensation welling up inside him. A powerful golden aura bursts out from his body, radiating wildly in all directions. Shocked, he yells out, why is my spiritual energy suddenly going out of control? At that moment, a system notification flashes before his eyes. Congratulations, host, on your breakthrough. Current power level, Saint Emperor realm. 6-star. Luo Wuqing stares at him in utter disbelief and blurts out, what the heck? How did you suddenly break through? And right afterward. More system notifications pour in, one after another. You've shocked Luo Wuqing. Reward mission reward card. After using Enlightenment Fist and punching 5,000 people, it disappears, and the host receives a mission reward. Additional note, Enlightenment Fist. When used on others, one punch grants them a slight increase in Tao comprehension and returns a portion of spiritual energy cultivation to the host. Reading that, Ning Tian slowly clenches his fist and stares at his hand, awkwardly thinking to himself, Enlightenment Fist? What kind of move is that? At that moment, Luo Wuqing suddenly grabs Ning Tian by the ear, tugging hard with an annoyed expression as she demands, did you secretly learn some kind of dual cultivation technique? Ning Tian cries out in pain from the ear pulling and quickly protests, honey, heaven and earth can bear witness. That kind of technique drains your body dry in all the wrong places. I'd never practiced such shady arts. It must have been all the spiritual energy I'd built up inside. When my thoughts cleared, the breakthrough just happened. Then, Ning Tian gently rests his head on Luo Wuqing's chest, wrapping his arms around her and saying softly, don't worry, honey. Just because I had a feast once doesn't mean I'll expect it every meal. Your husband still knows restraint. Hearing that, Luo Wuqing lets out a small sigh and says, smooth talker. Ning Tian looks up at her and grins, honey, I know you're the best. Can I ask you a favor? Luo Wuqing raises an eyebrow in curiosity. What favor? Ning Tian points toward his fist excitedly and asks, can I punch you just once? Just once. I promise it won't hurt. I just want to test it out. Luo Wuqing immediately gets furious. Without hesitation, she punches Ning Tian hard and yells, get lost. Ning Tian goes flying across the room from the impact. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Grand Elder and several other elders stand before the teleportation pillar, murmuring among themselves, the ancestor built this teleportation pillar. What a blessing for our heavenly demon sect. His merit will benefit generations to come. Suddenly, Ning Tian comes flying down from the sky and crashes hard onto the ground. Startled, one of the elders shouts, Ancestor? Ning Tian slowly pushes himself up, rubbing his forehead and groaning, that punch from my wife really packed a wallop. Seeing him land like that, The Grand Elder trembles in shock and rushes forward, asking, "Ancestor, are you alright?" But Ningtian quickly spots the Grand Elder, rushes up to him excitedly, grabs his hand, and blurts out, "Grand Elder! Hurry, let me punch you once!" The Grand Elder freezes, eyes wide with confusion and disbelief. The Grand Elder stares in shock and asks, "What?" Before he can react, Ningtian clenches his fist and prepares to strike. In a flash, he punches the Grand Elder while shouting, "Forgive me for the offense." The punch sends the Grand Elder flying through the air, crashing hard onto the ground. Witnessing the scene, the elders and disciples nearby gasp in disbelief, shouting, "My God, that punch from the Patriarch!" The disciples panic, crying out, "Could it be the Grand Elder is dead?" Just then, a system notification flashes before Ningtian, comprehension fist, 4,999 out of 5,000. Looking at his glowing fist, Ningtian thinks, "Hey, it really works." He walks over to the Grand Elder lying on the ground and says, "Stop pretending to be dead, I didn't even use my full strength." "You don't die." The Grand Elder coughs as he slowly sits up and groans, "Cough, cough." "Patriarch, even the heavens are cooperating with your performance." Ningtian asks urgently, "That's enough, come quickly, has your understanding of the Tao changed?" The Grand Elder blinks in surprise, then begins to check. A vibrant green aura flares up around him, pulsing with energy. The surrounding disciples stare at the Grand Elder in awe and whisper among themselves, "What does the Patriarch mean by that? Was there some hidden mystery in that punch?" Suddenly, the Grand Elder's eyes glow brilliantly. A surge of powerful green energy bursts from his body, and he cries out, "My sword mastery, which had been stagnant for hundreds of years, just improved." At that moment, the Grand Elder immediately asks Ningtian, "Patriarch, was it your punch by any chance?" Ningtian replies, "That's right. That punch is called the Fist of Comprehension, created by me personally. With a single strike, not only will you survive, but your comprehension will also increase." Hearing that, the disciples around begin to murmur, "Getting punched improves comprehension? The Patriarch is too amazing. Can he really achieve something that absurd?" Just then, a system notification pops up for Ningtian, "You've amazed a group of disciples. Reward, plus 5,000 spiritual chi cultivation." Ningtian then patiently explains to the disciples, "Correct. But there's a limit. It only works for 4,999 people." Upon hearing that, the disciples rush toward Ningtian in a frenzy, exclaiming, "Patriarch, my skin's itching, hit me." Another one cries out, "Patriarch, please hit me with all your strength, even if it kills me." One even breaks down in tears, "Patriarch, I confess, I think you're ugly. Please come hit me." Ningtian lets out a long sigh and says, all right. Line up one by one." Soon, a long line forms, and as he continues throwing punches one by one, he finally reaches the last 6. Ningtian punches each disciple, and with every strike, the disciples go flying and crash to the ground. After a while, the disciples who were punched by Ningtian now sit there cultivating. Soon, one of them suddenly shouts, "Haha! My Tao finally advanced." Another joins in, "That punch was worth it." At that moment, someone exclaims, "The Patriarch's fist feels amazing." Time passes, and afternoon slowly turns into evening as the sun begins to set. Suddenly, Ningtian says, "I didn't expect this to be so exhausting. My hand even hurts. Only one punch left." Then he turns toward the disciples and asks, "Who else wants to get hit?" But the disciples, now covered in bruises from the punches, begin to plead with him not to continue. Just then, the teleportation pillar starts activating. The teleportation gate begins to glow brightly. And from that glowing teleportation gate, Queen Mother and the Saintess step out. Seeing them, Ningtian lights up with joy and exclaims, "The last slot is here." He immediately rushes toward them, arms wide, shouting, "Queen Mother of the West." Seeing Ningtian run toward her like that, the Queen Mother smiles warmly and says, "Patriarch?" At the same time, she thinks to herself, "He's so happy to see me. He must have been thinking about me for a long time." Ningtian reaches her, points eagerly at his fist, and says with great excitement, Queen Mother of the West, it's urgent. Let me punch you quickly. Hearing that, the Queen Mother looks at him in surprise and asks, Punch me? At that moment, the Queen Mother suddenly steps closer to Ning Tian and leans softly against him, saying, Patriarch, what do you want to punch me with? Ning Tian, seeing the Queen Mother's graceful charm up close, blushes and thinks, this woman. She takes every chance to seduce me. Then he steps back from the Queen Mother and says, with one punch, your Tao comprehension could reach a new level. The Queen Mother looks at him with curiosity and asks, is something that good even possible? He, where does the Patriarch want to hit me? Ning Tian replies, from the back is fine, don't worry, I won't use too much force. Hearing that, the Queen Mother turns around and stands with her back facing Ning Tian. Ning Tian slowly begins gathering aura into his fist, and then quickly steps forward to deliver the punch, saying, here I go. But just before the punch lands, the Queen Mother suddenly turns around, and Ning Tian's fist lands directly onto her two melons. Ah! Damn it! He exclaims. The Queen Mother, surprisingly satisfied, lets out a pleased cry. Ning Tian then yells, I will report it. This demon woman hit me with her breasts on purpose. After that, he asks her, how do you feel? Has your comprehension improved? The Queen Mother gently places a hand on her chest and says, let me feel for a moment. No improvement. Hearing that, Ning Tian begins to wonder, that's strange. Why did it fail? The Queen Mother, smiling joyfully, replies, because my comprehension has already reached the peak of Great Emperor level. It can't improve anymore. Hearing that, Ning Tian becomes awkward and asks, then why did you let me punch you? Then the Queen Mother once again leans against Ning Tian and says, because I wanted the ancestor to discipline me. Hearing those words, and seeing her behavior, Ning Tian stands there in complete awkward silence. Meanwhile, the disciples nearby, watching their interaction, start to get nosebleeds and awkwardly giggle. One of them says to Ning Tian, Patriarch, you're such a pervert. Another gives him a thumbs up and says, true. On the other side, the saintess stands quietly in place. Suddenly, she looks at Ning Tian and asks, Patriarch, can you try it on me? Ning Tian lights up with joy and replies, of course. Come here, saintess. I'll be very gentle. The saintess walks over to him and turns around, facing away. Ning Tian prepares to throw the punch. Then he says, forgive me for the offense. And with that, he punches the saintess hard from behind. She lets out a satisfying cry, and her legs begin to tremble violently. She stumbles forward and collapses against Ning Tian's body. Blushing and panting, the saintess wraps her arms around him and says, thank you, ancestor. My Tao had been stuck for a long time. I finally broke through. At that moment, a system notification appears before Ning Tian. Host has completed the mission. Fist of Comprehension function deactivated. Reward card unlocked. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Eye of Perception. The Eye of Perception consumes Qi to activate. It can see heaven-earth phenomena, natural treasures, and more. Seeing that, Ning Tian begins to ponder deeply. Eye of Perception? Isn't that basically X-ray vision? Then. Meanwhile, Luo Wuching stands behind Ning Tian, silently watching everything unfold. Seeing all of it, she grows so furious that flames start rising from her body. Then she shouts at Ning Tian, what are you doing?